draft. Going to be putting the word out right now about this stream. Finally, everything is fixed. There's something going on with the game that's now been resolved. And we are going to talk about these prospects on this list. We got a lot of big names here from the CBGM, a lot of early declarations. Then also we have seniors who, some of the best seniors we might ever see in this game. Normally when the game spawns, there's a nice crop of seniors that are a little bit different than some of the prospects you get year in, year out. They're actually quite interesting in their career paths and trajectories. And a couple guys here, Will Bauer, Jordan Keems, Leo Perry, Ryan Mitchell. These are the kind of names. Mark Linney, all legends from CBGM coming into the NBGM draft. Just going to get the word out a bit more, see if we can get a couple more people onto the stream. But what we do is we save all these to YouTube. If you're not familiar with what the CBGM is, it is the college basketball general manager, we call it. It's running on DDSPB21 from Wolverine Studios. This is the PB21 League Link. So seeing your players go into the professional association. And let's just see that we have a couple more people tonight, maybe, before we go into the full-on draft here. Let's take a look at some notable names. Bernie Newton, top 5 prospect out of Baylor. Baylor had a strong season. They weren't able to get to the final, but they went pretty deep. Final 4, I believe, against Georgetown. And they played this man right here, Sherman. Grundy might be on the other page here. Sherman Grundy. This guy, he went to the finals. He lost to Oregon, unfortunately. Had a bit of a better year in 2020 versus 2021. But he went head-to-head here with Bernie Newton. Bernie Newton, there's a lot to say about him. This draft takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to get into it soon. But this is the #1 prospect that was in all of CBGM. He was the indie camp, known as the best prospect camp, kind of like the Iverson camp these days for college basketball. He unfortunately got knocked out pretty early. His stats may not have been as good as people thought. His 3-point percentage and field goal percentage, not that high. He had comparables, what we were saying, to Irvin Magic Johnson as a player. Hey, Jedi, welcome to the chat. And he was a big name for this NBGM. He'll definitely be a great pro, and someone will be able to use him quite well. A lot of other names, if you don't know the association, I guess these aren't too familiar with you. But we're going to get into the draft. We're going to run the montage here, and we're going to see who comes out and joins this new crop of prospects. The Lakers won the lottery, and the Raptors have the #2 pick, my Toronto Raptors. So we got this stuff all happening at the bottom of the name, so I'm not sure why that's going on. But some of the big names that are coming up tonight are going to be the names that showed up here. Kansas has got representation, West Virginia representation, Dion Clark. This montage is not even well aligned, so I'm just going to get right into the draft. So here we are. This is the start of the 2023 season, we call it, but it's the 2022 NBA draft with CBGM. And let's get right into it. See what the commentators have to say. That's Woj on the far right. He's always got some comments. And right now, alongside, they call them JP Gorski, I guess, and Chris Jones. Lakers missed the playoffs last year. They didn't have a great year. LeBron's starting to fall off a bit. Anthony Davis didn't really contribute. But we're into the top pick of the NBGM from the CBGM. This is our second time doing this. Each year it's going to get cooler and cooler as our players are the ones that are in this draft. And so it's going to be interesting to see who they take. Coach Vogel from the Lakers, JP, Woj said they had a chat with them. Who did he say? Chris Williams from Kansas could be the top pick. Not someone that's well known in CBGM, but interesting if that actually is the way it goes for the Lakers here. Sometimes the pick just comes up on its own. But we'll give this a little bit more time, and sometimes it just comes up out of nowhere. Breeze, what's going on? This is the NBGM draft with our CBGM players. You might not know any of these guys, but there are some, these are our best prospects. See who they take. So look at the bottom, watch the ticker. You can see the draft order, the top players. They talk about them as well. I give this one more minute here. I'm going to predict for this pick. I mean, hard to say. Dan McRae probably, or maybe Bernie Newton as well. They're pretty good players. Best point guard here, it says Sherman Grundy, Georgetown. Jimmy Levitt, Kansas, best shooting guard right now, top pick. Kurt Linney out of North Carolina, best small forward. Michael Brown, that looks like a G League Ignite player. And Chris Williams from Kansas is the best center, apparently. But with that in mind, let's get to the pick. And I'll click the CPU pick right here. It is Kansas. It's Chris Williams. So there's a lot of information about them here. We're going to see what these guys say about that pick at the bottom. But it's going to be the Raptors coming up next. The Lakers added height here. They didn't take a guard. Unfortunately, Breeze, not this time. But the Lakers could have used a guard, that's for sure. And they take Chris Williams out of Kansas. Now, it's interesting to see what the Raptors take. Woj here is still talking about that pick. Some say they don't like that pick at all for the Lakers. Could be a bust. Who knows? They're still talking about Chris Williams on the bottom as the Raptors are on the clock. Well, they're saying Chris Williams is a pretty solid pro, so we'll see how that works out. It's interesting that Dan McRae right now, the Indy MVP, is not even on some of the top players available. Breeze says Toronto's going to take a point guard. Coolest Jedi thinks it's the shooting guard / point guard Sherman Grundy. Bernie Sweetwine remains as the best center available by the projections. But let's get the pick in. Here's the second pick. It's Dan McRae going to the Raptors. So he did not show up in the CBGM, but he is in Toronto now. They get a guard. He is a point guard, though. So, Breeze, you're correct. Dan McRae is a point guard. He is on the Toronto Raptors. He goes number 2. He was not on the clock, but he's ready to go. And we're up with the Wiz now, the Washington Wizards. I think run by Gilbert Arenas, I put. So Woj is saying he thought McRae would go number 2. Looks like the right spot. Everyone's saying that. And with the number 3 pick, Washington will go with Mike Jacobson, top 5 prospect at a CBGM, but he then went early into the draft. Mike Jacobson, Kansas goes 1-3 with their picks. Kansas didn't really end up the year that well, but their picks and Jacobson's stats were not very good whatsoever. So they're definitely just going on potential there. So the Wizards, I'm not so sure about that decision. But Washington, and it's the Milwaukee Bucks now. So they we're a couple years in, so the Bucks may have digressed a bit. They didn't go, I think they might have had a decent playoff run, but this pick might have been through a trade or someone else, but they're here in the number 4 position right now. The rest of the order goes Pistons, Hornets, Rockets. So yeah, surprisingly, the Bucks are gonna reload here with some talent. Any predictions on what kind of position the Bucks need? Breeze thinks it's gonna be someone to replace Brook Lopez, so that could be out of Michigan, Sweetwine. See how that goes. It's Kurt Linney out of North Carolina. So the pedigree players are getting picked here. Kurt Linney, another top prospect at a CBGM. He is now a top 5 NBGM pick. He had maybe the better season against Dan McRae. Could have been the more epic performer. It's hard to think Newton's going to go outside of this slot right now. Bernie Newton, great player. There's a lot of other good names out there. Grundy, Levitt. But we got a couple of the three big names off the board: McRae, Jacobson, Linney. These are those top 10 5-star CBGM prospects. Now, we're not sure what Detroit's going to take here, but are there any predictions? Keep an eye on it. All right. Next move, Pistons. Who's it going to be? Sherman Grundy from Georgetown to Detroit. So these are teams that have got tough mentality to them. Detroit takes that type of player in Sherman Grundy, hard-working player from Georgetown. Not someone you really want to lose sleep on. Grundy you can't really say that they've made a mistake here. But the Rockets are salivating to get someone from a school like Baylor to change that course of that franchise. The Hornets right now, a little undetermined where they're going to go with this pick. Bernie Newton would make a lot of sense here. We'll see if Jedi and Breeze have any other predictions in the chat. Might as well keep saying Bernie Newton until he shows up. But they got LaMelo Ball right now. Mark Linney's out there available. They don't really need a point guard. Breeze thinks it's going to be a small forward. Woj thinks it's going to be Cedric Julius from Minnesota, the center. Well, let's see. Who do they go with here? It's Dion Clark under Bobby Higgins' tutelage. The logo, if you haven't seen the CBGM logo, it's Bobby Huggins. Dion Clark, he was a top 10 prospect in CBGM. Didn't take his team as far as they could have gone. Had a decent year, but it seems like a Hornets type pick. A bit of a LaMelo though, no disrespect. LaMelo's a great pick. We got the Rockets. This seems like a very appropriate place for Bernie Newton. From Baylor, staying in state. He was the pride and joy of the Baylor Bears this year. Did so much. Was young though. That team had some deep players, some older players. This year they're going to be even better potentially. If you're looking at the bottom, you can see the ticker and see where Baylor shows up. But Newton so far is falling to Houston. At least. Yeah, there's no way Newton though leaves that top 10. Going the Suns, I don't know how they have a number 9 pick. They literally are in the finals every year. So someone got swindled, some kind of trade. But let's get to this pick. It's the number 7 pick in the top 10 of the NBGM. DeMarcus Tubbs. So, interesting pick because there's these guys on Pitt that were not recruited in the last 2 years with the newer crop of generated players. But DeMarcus Tubbs has been a staple at Pitt for a while, a team that was in the top 5 year in, year out, and did a lot of damage in the ACC. They're a consistent player. So, interesting that is the pick because we're seeing a lot of the young top 10 players, younger players with potential. What we're not seeing are all these high-scoring seniors that Will Bauer and We have Jordan Keynes is not a top 10 player yet. So we got some arrivals to the chat. All right, we're going to run this next pick here. What do we got? If Bernie Newton keeps dropping, I don't know what's going on with this game, man. It is Bernie Newton with the trade, though. The Celtics are moving Fournier. Plumlee's coming to the Celts in a second rounder. Looks like a bit of a cap dump. That trade just got completed, but let's see. Bernie Newton is a Portland Trailblazer. There he goes. Great player. Kept talking about him and finally got selected. Definitely don't want the Suns to get him. This team is already almost a dynasty. They're in the finals 2 straight times. But it was our Orlando Magic winning the championship in the second season now. Hey, Aaron, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Don't do these streams that often. Quite busy, but always happy to do a league link, draft representation, seeing the CB21 code go into the PB21 code, and having a look at our second season prospects going into the pro game. So we'll be talking about some of these familiar names in that other league. Encourage you to join if you ever find the time. The CBGM is a lot of fun. We have 134 active teams. But now we're seeing the draft class come in, and we're into the 9 pick. So the Suns, right now, I don't know who they take. They have such a deep roster. I think Chris Paul may be retiring soon enough. Maybe a contract situation where he was making about $41 million a season. They were in the finals last year. You can see their stats below. And what is it going to be? The Phoenix Suns. Breeze, any projections on what the Phoenix Suns might take? I think they're pretty guard heavy. They got Booker. Oh, point guard, it says NA. So at the moment, the Suns are without Chris Paul. It's a new era. Devin Booker sticks around with their contract. But right now, they are in need of some youth at the point guard position. All right, so Phoenix takes Nick Burris. Agalia should be here to see this. This is Agalia, his prospect that did not live up to the hype. Gave this guy a lot of run, a lot of minutes. At times, he was shooting like 3 of 12 from the field, off the bench, sometimes 2 of 12, but a highly projected player, and yet still a top 10 pick. I think we went as far as to say he could go top 5, but in this case, he went in the top 10. He goes to the Suns, and we need a bust player for the Suns to bring some parity to this league, because the Suns just keep running the show here in the pro game. Yeah, so we got other things like the Derby on tonight, and he should throw the pitches to the rest of the people. BP for everyone else. All right, we got the Celts here. I know there's Boston fans in the chat. We got a couple of them. Aaron definitely is a Boston fan, right? Then we got a Celtics fan, I would imagine. But we know Breeze is a big Celtics fan. We know Rizzo, who's not here right now, he's a big Celtics fan. New England Sports is on the clock right now. Who are they going to take? We got Julius from Minnesota. He's a great center right now that can do a lot of damage. Not sure their needs. We can look at the bottom again to see what they need to take. They finished in the second round last year. It says 58 and 22, 24 or whatever. They got a 29th pick as well. That lineup is Tatum, Jaylen Brown, a couple of guys I don't know. There's some draft picks in there. So Boston kind of is in need of maybe some guard play. You got Tatum looking like he's a small forward there. All right, here's the pick. Khalid Jones, big name center out of Kentucky. So Kentucky didn't have the year that they had, but this guy was the consensus #1 overall pick by ranking, by the scout ranking system, but not the camp data. The camp data from Indy came back and showed Dan McRae was to be the best player out of that camp. Not so sure he turned out to be the best player overall in the entire CBGM season that year. It was likely Bernie Newton, to be honest. So we're not seeing a lot of seniors get taken yet. We have Will Bauer still on the board, Leo Perry from Butler, Will Bauer out of BYU. Also remaining is other big name scorers like Jordan Keynes out of Ohio State, Rizzo's legendary player. He's got to be able to go in the first round, you would think. But let's see who the Hawks take. The Hawks are going to go with Michael Brown. So this is a G League Ignite player. So none, when it says that, means they're not in the CBGM or any college team. That is a G League Ignite player. Worked out pretty well for Orlando last year. Hey, what's up, Coffee? Marcus is in the chat. We got, I think Leo Perry's still out there. Linney, I don't think he was taken. This is probably the range right now. I think you're about to just arrive to watch your picks go down with Perry and Linney potentially coming up. We got the Jazz right now on the clock. Who's out there still? We have Jared Jacobson, Iowa. A bit of a reach, maybe. He's a good player. Bernie Sweetwine, he's a good scorer. Cedric Julius. We got definitely Will Bauer out there. There's Kurt Linney. Not Kurt, Mark. There's a couple Linneys in this game, but Mark Linney's still out there. All right. Next pick. Michael Bird. That looks like another G League Ignite player. So, yeah, Bree's good point. I'm not sure why the G League teams aren't there. They don't respect, I guess, the original teams they were on. But when they get G League drafted, I guess they should keep at least a bit of their history of where they played. Or at least show that they were an Ignite player, right? So we got the Pacers on the clock right now. Mark Linney's out there. It says best point guard available at the bottom. Jimmy Levitt from Kansas, probably the better player out of Jacobson. He's still down there. And if you want to take a look at the recap, the top five, look at the bottom right now. You'll see round one Lakers, Chris Williams. Number 2, Dan McRae. Number 3, Mike Jacobson. And next up for Indiana will be Jimmy Levitt, Kansas. Good name, good, solid producing player. This guy could, he's got a little bit of everything. He's got steals, he can block, his stats, he was padding them in the Big 12. So Jimmy Levitt out of Kansas is someone to not be ashamed of in the pro game here. And what else do we have left? We got OKC, they had the top pick last year. Took a Florida Gator. I don't think it worked out too well for them on that pick. But never write out players potentially, with their potential, I should say, and their progression of ratings, depending on what the game decides for them. But we're into the middle range of the first round, and we have OKC Thunder up. And let's take a look who they take next. Mark Linney, there you go, Coffee. Perfect timing for you, man. He is going to OKC. I wonder if they have Shai Gilgeous as well still. At the moment, it's Mark Linney going to OKC. Leo Perry, this might be perfect timing for you. You're going to catch it at work. It might be Leo Perry up in the next 2-3 picks. I think I got a feeling that that's kind of the range that they're going to be in. What are we looking at now? Holiday's still on this team. Middleton's on this team. Giannis is still on this team. They're saying Ike Gosley could be a player for them. Jordan Keems. The Bucks had an early pick. I don't know what moves they made to be able to acquire this pick, but the Bucks with a couple big first-round picks here, I have no idea how they got them. Well, let's see who they go with. J.J. Hare, UCLA. So off the board with this pick. J.J. Hare had a decent season. 8 points a game. I guess this is the kind of grit type player that they want to have. Says he has great length for the wing. Has that kind of even game. I guess no flaws. Nothing special either at the same time. But that's the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going off the board with J.J. Hare. I think Carrawell might have gone pro. He might be the better player even from UCLA. So, all right. Denver's up on the clock. I think what I want to do is just at least wait to see what their lineup is like. I think the lineup's going to come up in a second here. Yeah, we got Jamal Murray. We got Jokic, and that's about it. So they could use Gosling, for example. Adrian Griffin, Florida. You know what? Not a bad pick, because Florida still had a reasonable season. 10 a game there. Big man. Maybe not. You know, getting picked over Cedric Julius is a bit confusing. But don't question the scouting of some of these NBGM GMs. Not sure what they're up to, but I did make them all ex-pros. So if that was a pick for Denver, I think I can't remember actually at the moment right now. I might say something at the bottom about who it was. All right, so now we have another pick. Who are the Kings going to take? There's some predictions right now going on to let people know who's still out there. We got Will Bauer still out there, Leo Perry still out there, Jordan Keem still out there. Seniors are not getting the love right now. One did actually kind of earlier in the draft, but that was about it. All right, Kings up. Pick will be Vic Judd. So there was a Judd-Clark combo at West Virginia under Higgins. His last year, he retired. Breaks my heart. Chris Beard goes over and takes over that team at West Virginia in the CBGM. So right now, Vic Judd, though, is now a Sacramento King. Pels are up. Pels are an up-and-coming team. So a lot of these teams now had a pretty good, playoff performance or run. Pelicans were Final Four. So Zion started picking up his game. They had a great season this year. They lost to the Suns, but nothing to they can be proud of what they did. All right, and the pick for the Pels is Jordan Keems joins Zion Williamson. I'm not sure who else is in the lineup right now for them. So let's see what's on the bottom. They might show it on the bottom, I think. But anyways, it shows the stats from college here. 25 a game out of Ohio State, Jordan Keems. Tubbs was their last pick. Rockets have another first rounder. Woj over there saying, not sure if he agrees with that pick. Rizzo agrees with that pick. Coffee called Keems to be picked. What else we got now? So the Rockets, let's see who they have next. Jared Jacobson, Iowa, Big Ten representing here. Second season in a row that Iowa has a player that's a big. That Kelsey Holmes was a player that went into the draft last year. Iowa is a factory of big men right now, but here's their second pro that they've sent. And the Clippers are up. Clippers, Kawhi's not on the team based on the below. Paul George still is. Not sure where Kawhi headed. I think more confusing is maybe Cedric Julius than Sweet Twine right now. Well, let's run this next pick for the clip. Jaron Jennings, this is just an awful pick, I think. So, was a prospect, was ranked high, never played, never got run at Wisconsin. Always highly rated for potential. Never really got time off the bench. But it's always reported to be a pro. So that's what happened there. Still selected by the Clippers. All right, we got the Grizz up. And the Grizz with their late first round pick will be Cedric Julius. Finally, this guy goes. Definitely undersized, though. 6'7", 201. Sometimes even played the center position. That's not going to cut it pro, though. 10 rebounds a game. Probably played a 5-out or something. There's something a bit of an anomaly there that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And next up after Julius for the Pacers. Sabonis is still on this team. Brogdon's still on this team. Pacers have another pick. They had someone earlier, I believe. And Pacers get in their second first-round pick. Will Deng. Clip made a quick deal. Bazemore moving. Will Deng out of the G League Ignite. Seems like G League Ignite get a few prospects here. They must have some good potential ratings versus the CBGM guys. All right, Orlando, they don't need anybody else. Rockets have another pick in this first round. That is, I guess that's all of the Harden stuff coming to fruition. All those deals. I moved all those picks. James Harden deal must have acquired a lot of talent. But Magic don't need anybody else. They have a lot of up-and-coming, well, the players are already here now. So Wendell Carter Jr., BJ Anderson, probably the top player of last year's draft, but it went third overall. They won the championship. They caught fire. They won in the East. But let's see who they take to add to their team. Lane Trask, Wichita State. Nothing good to say about this guy. Scored, though, had some points. Bit of a reach. Never talked about this guy once in the CBGM. But, okay. Magic think he can help their team. All right, Rockets are up with another pick. They had Jacobson as a pick. They're stacking players now at this point. Look over here. You know they're good picks, bad picks, and then this pick. Woj is not happy about that one. Yeah, this guy's sticking up for that pick. I'm not so sure about that. All right, let's get this pick for Houston. Ike Gosley. Can't go wrong with that. Finalist, lost to Oregon, could have been a winner. Easily could have won the entire CBGM. Him, combination with Grundy, those two caused a lot of damage. So he's on the Rockets now. All right, we're going to move through some of these picks faster because we're getting towards the late first and then second round. So every 30 seconds or so, we're going to do our next pick to get this thing moving. We're half an hour into the draft. All right, who's Dallas going to be? Doncic was the MVP, averaged a triple-double this season. Who do they take? Oh, trade going on here behind the scenes. Gafford, Jalen McDaniels, but Kareem Roberts from Pitt. So Pitt adds a second first rounder. They deserve it. If you've seen the way they play in CBGM, Pitt had a team that could ball, continue to win every year, and so they deserve another first rounder. And we got the Hawks now. We had a big scorer join Trae Young last year. He looks like he might not be on the team anymore. Point guard not available. We got DeRozan. So that's interesting. It looked like maybe Trae Young opted out. He was one of the top scorers. Hawks went to the semifinals as well, I think. They had a great playoff run. But maybe he's just NA because he hasn't accepted an option or something like that. But let's go to this next pick. And we got a couple small trades going on, one small trade. Kevin Brunson from Nova. Rounding out almost the first round. We got 2 picks left. 2 or 3 picks in the first. No, maybe 4. Sorry, I didn't see down here. All right, Warriors are up. They had a bit of a renaissance season. They had Clay. They had, well, now it's just, oh man, that team's getting bad. Wiseman was a great draft pick, though. He had a lot of good stats. That draft class really respected him. Warriors are saying Will Bauer could go to them. Who else we got down here? We got Fisher as a small forward. Some names are not as familiar now, but let's get to the pick. It's Will Bauer. Will Bauer is a first-round pick. Will he go on to be the scorer that the Warriors need? It looks like Curry might not even be on the roster anymore. But BYU's pick, Will Bauer, 25 a game, top 5 scorer in the CBGM, is going to the Golden State Warriors and stays around the West Coast. And that's Desired's draft pick. All right, Nets are up. This is a deep team, obviously. Let's see who they get. They had a couple late firsts. Oh, they got an early second and a late first. They take Shante Devon, but Seton Hall gets their draft pick in the first round. If Blink is reading this at all. Pretty good stats. 22 a game. That's not easy to do in CB21. So he is in the first round, Shante Devon. And Celtics are up again. So if anyone's still staying tuned to this, interested to see what the outcome will be. We got Tatum and Brown on this team. They just took a player earlier in the draft. And who will be a late first round pick of the Boston Celtics? Leo Perry still out there. It's Jason Wheel. Louisville is into the first round. So Card's not paying attention to this one tonight, but 10 a game, 7 boards. He's a first round pick from Louisville. He'll be proud and happy to know that his players get that kind of respect going into the first. And Suns are up. They took Nick Burris in their last pick. And it's getting some stats about since Conte was taken. That's interesting. It showed the last time a player was taken from Notre Dame. So interesting little bubble of information there. And the next pick will be for the Suns. Corey Oliver. And Corey Oliver plays for Kentucky, so he's probably good. 16 a game. Someone that will step in for the Suns and create some offense for them. Grab some boards. Pretty good for a guard with 5-6 rebounds a game. So we're into the second round now, so we're going to move this thing pretty quick. All picks are only a minute 40 anyway, so it doesn't really take too long. But let's keep it moving here. Leo Perry is a second round pick. Kenny Lyons, interesting trade here. Gonzaga's guy goes to the Nuggets for PJ Washington. So Gonzaga former star Kenny Lyons is on the move from the Hornets to the Nuggets. This pick, though, for Coffee, Leo Perry, big score, 25 a game from Butler, ends up in the second round, but going to Brooklyn. So that's a pretty deep team there. They'll like that one. Here's Boston. They're up next. Oh my, here's another player for Coffee. He turned in perfectly at the right time. Vyacheslav Lykova has gone to Boston just for Coffee since he's showing up here. Terrible stats, terrible ratings, but is a pro. He's a big body. He keeps the bench warm. There's a live body out there. Whether or not he becomes something, Boston's willing to take a gamble on that. We'll see how that works out for them. Junior Jack Grundy's already on the move. Wow. They must not value that pick too much. Drew Eubanks. Spurs are grabbing Grundy. So Pistons, quick insta move. That looks like a terrible move. But early pick on the move. We'll keep it going here. I didn't make this game, but it clearly is some fun when bringing the players in, whatever they want to do for the rosters, whatever. It's about seeing how our guys play. All right, so we got Jackson, who got picked, last pick there, to the Hornets. To the Grizz. Hornets are up next. Let's see who they take. Ray Stevens, top prospect out of Virginia. He left early. Broke some hearts there for, Josh, LSU. Josh didn't want to lose this guy. He re-upped, grabbing another top 25 player from Canada. But he loses Stevens. But he's a pro for Charlotte. So Lakers are up. They had the first overall pick earlier. Their next move goes Jason Humphrey, Kentucky. Kentucky seems to have players after players, so their bench players are good enough to be pro players. That's the kind of talent Kentucky can bring in no matter what. So if they're always getting top 25 players, that's the kind of talent they're doing. Let's keep this draft moving. We're off Lakers. We're on to the Rockets. The Rockets are going to have, as their next pick, Dion George, G League. Don't know this guy that well at all. So that's a pick, their G League pick. Want to keep this going just to see CBGM guys. So we're going to move off that one real fast. Off that pick, on to the next. Sixers pick. Don't recall them having a first rounder, so let's see what happens here. Will Sankey's, Old Dominion, ODZ, getting the draft pick here. It's all right when those schools get someone as a draft pick and a pro. Something to be proud of. I think if we start seeing some of our players on small schools getting drafted at this position, you can be quite proud of that. 37th overall to the Sixers is going from Old Dominion. All right, next pick. There's more trades going on, but hopefully no scary ones. All right, Derek Norwood, Wisconsin. So Wisconsin gets another draft pick. Player that didn't produce a game, I should say, 6.5 points per game. Their other guy didn't do much either, but that pick is in. Pacers, again, they've had a few picks, so let's see who they take here. Jamie Fisher from Pitt, another one of these talented players. But now we're seeing the decline of Pitt. We're seeing their players, 3 of them go into this draft. So they're definitely going to be a team that probably on the decline. Unfortunate timing that their manager left, but the ACC power is going to shift as Pitt loses 3 of their players now. Interesting that it tells you what happened with the pick they did last year in this spot. And here we go for another pick. Luther O'Mara, Syracuse. So I almost thought it was Illinois because I saw that color and I was like, and I saw the letter and sorry, there's no Jedi, no one from Illinois here. But Luther O'Mara from Cuse is drafted by the Grizzlies in the 2nd round. Not familiar with that guy. Pistons with this pick, but shipped it. So that was real great. But they're on the clock right now. And Pistons select Clifton English from the Richmond Spiders. So they're going off the board right now with their pick. This GM's kind of lost his mind. Who did I set here again? Can't even recall now. But some sort of Pistons legend I put in there as the general manager. All right, Jazz are up. Their pick will be Jim Wheeler, Ohio. So a proud pick here. Ohio played well in the MAC. This player's coming out of the MAC, and they had a great season. They represented the MAC in the tournament. I think they got ranked at one point. So Jim Wheeler is a draft pick. That's always something to be proud of. If you're not drafted, though, it's not over for you. You go to the G League. You can get a 10-day contract. You go to Summer League. And we've seen players make teams now. Richard Brown from Stanford, a consistent guy right now. Oh, Machine got to see it. You got to see your guy. Jim Wheeler got picked. Congratulations on that. You can watch him on the Utah Jazz. So T-Wolves are up. Their next pick. Oh, Holiday for Connaughton's on the move here. Ryan Bryant, G League Ignite again. Not wanting to test any of our CBGM players. They're willing to test the G League Ignite before us. So that's what we got to deal with in the pro link-up game. Not exactly owning the market here for stuff. So, all right, Thunder up again. Let's see who they take in the 2nd round. Bernie Sweetwine finally is picked. So it's about time. But this is a guy that can play. And so we got OKC now getting, a solid pro. Going to plug minutes in for him. His stats are nice. He played in the Big Ten. There's good competition in the Big Ten. Cards was here. He might, make a joke or two or something. But Sweetwine can play. And he's going to OKC. So the Bulls are up. Jedi, here's your chance to get all hyped up. Your team is getting a pick. I haven't seen the Raptors get a pick since Dan McRae, but I'm happy they took Dan McRae. It's worth the gamble. Bulls, 45th pick overall. They take Wes Williams, Wright State. Wesley Williams. So spelt that way. He had 15 in a game. He's a center. You take a team from that conference, it's you run a little bit of risk. So we'll see how that works out in the pro game. Good thing there's potential ratings that get thrown in by the game itself, so you never know what'll happen. 46 pick, Hornets. They have another pick. Let's see who they have. Orion Mitchell. There you go, Kevs. Northwestern's pride and joy is an NBGM player. He is going into the second round. Hornets are not a very good team, so it's a good team to get taken to. But 20 a game for Northwestern. He's getting drafted. So definitely, it's nice when your player's not undrafted and then needs to sign. Definitely a talent there. Clippers are up. Last pick wasn't so good. Let's see who they take next. Trades going on. John Davis, Zona. So Arizona, they compete. They have a decent team. Do all right in the Pac-12. But, you know, that's one of those players that did well for them. So the Clippers are going to Arizona's pool, and they grab that pick. Pels are up again. Hornets up again. They just collect second rounders, it looks like. They took Jordan Keems with their last pick. And they had a pick of J.R. Smith one time with that pick. That might be a Duke name. All right. Next one here. John Clark, St. Mary's. So we have Chuck getting a draft pick here. One of his guys went pro. He's looking like a man already. And he's going to do what he needs to do. He had 11 in game, 7 boards. So productive forward from St. Mary's. Chuck has a draft pick. Up next, Hornets again. Let's see what they get. Jerome Holmes, Louis Tech. So Louis Tech gets a draft pick before some other guys. I have a guy that's still left in the draft from Creighton, Mike Ray. Not great. But I don't know how good this guy is. 15 a game. Seems respectable. Seems worth a gamble, but that's what the Hornets are up to. So that's who they take. And right now at the 50th pick overall, Jess Brown, Ohio State. So we saw Kelsey Williams go pro. Jess Brown from Ohio State, another talented player for them last season. 12 a game, filled in for the production from Kelsey Williams, who left. He's a second round NBGM pick. Grizzlies up next. Donald Dixon, Arizona gets another draft pick. So we're rounding out the second round. The draft is coming towards an end. Arizona gets another pick in the second round. All right, we got Cavs up right now. Magic, Bucks, Mavs. Next 3 teams after this team don't need any more help. Let's see what we got. Shabazz Smiley, one of the best names in CBGM. Seton Hall gets another player. Shabazz Smiley goes in the second round. 14.6 a game. Gets rebounds. So he's going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Magic up next. Second round, getting toward the end of the draft. Magic will take Michael Arnold of UAB. So UAB gets a draft pick. We're getting some of the smaller conferences seeing players with a little bit of love for the pros. Like to see that. Don't want to just see every single second round pick being, you know, old guard, old names, that kind of stuff. But, you know, seniors have done pretty well in this draft if you're a high scorer. But age matters, I think, here. But Arnold gets picked. Next pick. Jason Brown, Wichita State. I think some notable names that are left, I think maybe even like Brad Hines is in here. There's going to be some interesting players that might be unsigned prospects. Jason Brown, Wichita State, he's off. All right, Mavs 55. We got, in this pick, Frank Farmer, G League, no idea. Mavs winning the gamble with an unnamed commodity here from the G League, Frank Farmer. All right. Next up, Hawks again. Celtics have another pick, and a Hornets another second rounder. Brad Hines, just as I thought, you might not see the guy. Brad Hines could be a steal at the second round here for SMU. We got him joining the Atlanta Hawks. This man could play in his conference, so he's definitely a draft pick and a pro, someone who deserves to be. Brad Hines goes 56th. Hornets up next. Eric Griffin, Sippy. So Hawks go with Ole Miss. Ole Miss is not that bad. The computer does all right for them. Don't really know too much of their players, but they're getting a draft pick, and they have an AI representative for their team. 3 picks to go, and this draft is over until next season, the next wave of players, and we do it all over again. Sixers pick, Calvin Woodward from Nevada. So one of the newer people took Nevada. That's one of their new players. I think it's AK77 or someone. 777. All right, Celtics and Suns. Suns don't need more help. Celtics had some other picks. Off the board with the big Russian like Kova. It's good to see internationals do get picked in this. Next pick, Earl Jones of New Jersey Institute of Technology. NGIT. So NGIT gets a player. That's run by Dart, so he has a player that's drafted. Not bad. So yeah, maybe Celtics will take a G League player, but it would be nice if they take the CBGM. This is the last pick of the draft. Thanks everyone for tuning in, whoever did, and till this late. Breeze, thanks again for always being on the channel. It's nice to always have you around. Everyone appreciates it. And the next pick will be Jay Worley, Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks from Northern Arizona. I believe that's their team name. That looks like, yep, that's an axe. So Hornets, that's the last pick. Everyone else has a chance that's undrafted to be in the Summer League. Summer League shows some talent, and then there's the G League draft, and they'll start going around to other teams. All right, so we're gonna wrap up this draft right here. Make sure it saves all the progression. And just do the save from this point. And I want to thank everyone for joining the chat. I'm going to type it out. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to run the league. CBGM has to advance tonight, so I got another thing to do. But thanks for joining the chat, everybody. And thanks for watching the NBGM draft. We're in the contracts period now, as you can see. And thanks for coming around. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Take care.